Audio. On our first story, this bulletin, we start with the economy, as Nigeria's economy has slipped into another recession. The same happened in 2016, making it the second recession in a space of 4 years. This is according to a new report released by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics on Saturday. Official figures published by the NBS shows that the economy shrank again in the third quarter of this year. The nation's economy maintained a second consecutive negative growth after contracting by 3.62% in the third quarter. The cumulative gross domestic product, GDP, for the first 9 months of 2020 therefore stood at minus 2.48%, just as it recorded a minus 6.10% in the second quarter. And now joining us live on the news to discuss the issue of the recession is an economist, Samson Soyebi. Thank you very much for joining us on the news at this time. Now, recession is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activities are reduced. What do you think were the major contributory factors that facilitated Nigeria slipping back into recession?
Okay, it's evident already because if you look at our society in the last 2 quarters, you observe that the country had been barely, in the last 1 year, thereabout, the country has been barely surviving. We've been hovering between 1% growth and 3% growth. In fact, we've been hovering between 2% growth. And up to first quarter of the year, then at the second quarter, we had the wave of COVID-19, where we have a lockdown for weeks that paralyzed economic activities, and so it's definitely going to happen. We should expect it, and that was seen when the analysis of the second quarter came out that Nigeria plunged into 6.1%. So this recession is actually not, it's a confirmation of recession, because recession is when you have 2 consecutive negative growth. But when you look at the first one, which is the second quarter growth, and the third quarter growth, you understand that there has been an increase from the 6.1 to 3.62%, which is actually a positive one compared to what we have that's on other clients. I really feel that hopefully by the end of the year, if the country is able to wiggle their way around the economy, if we have increased economic activities, there is a tendency is that we will come out of this recession before too long. Now, you also observe that of recent, Nigeria had recorded decline in the major product that we sell, which is petroleum. The crude oil had actually reduced. We had experienced reduction in the volume of sales for crude oil, owing to lockdown in other Western society that we sell these crude oil products to. So definitely we can't. It's envisaged. We envisage this lockdown. It's definitely imminent. We cannot hide it. It's definitely there. There's nothing the country can do about it.
So COVID-19 was one of the factors that facilitated Nigeria going back into recession. Some people have said that Nigeria's progress is not on oil but on the youths. How would you rate Nigeria's managerial skills of its natural resources that it is so well blessed with?
Okay, so management of the recession is a reflection of how we were able to react to the challenges that we faced. Normally, maybe Nigeria wouldn't have gone into that much lockdown if it was better managed. Maybe if we had also done some activities and managed scenarios better, maybe we wouldn't be here. If you recall, the NSAS protest lingered for days, which was needless. Nigeria was just coming out of a lockdown that crippled economic activity. So things were just bouncing back when that NSAS protest came about. And the NSAS protest actually lingered on for no just reason. Government should have just reacted and things should have just gone smoothly. The requests of the youth were not too overwhelming that government delayed their response. So you can see all these things accumulating gradually. So I would say that our government had not reacted positively. They have not reacted like they knew what they were doing. There had been a lot of shortfalls here and there. There had been a lot of managerial lapses on the part of government, on the part of leadership, and those who are handling our affairs, priority issues had been cited. And I really feel that now that we are officially in a recession, they will sit back and understand that they cannot hold the country to ransom anymore. They need to get out and think and be creative about what next can they do. We cannot continue. One thing that is evident now is the fact that it's obvious that Nigeria cannot consistently rely on petroleum as its major source of income. We need to look at how to diversify our economy from petroleum, because this recession is actually as a result of a shrinkage in our output sales of petroleum crude oil. So I feel the government should look inwards and look at how to better manage our resources. There are a lot of other items other than crude oil that Nigeria can bank on. But unfortunately, the attention has been on crude oil in the last 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years since we discovered crude oil. I really feel that this is the time for us to look at our resources. The human capital resources is the largest capacity that Nigeria has to overturn the scenario we have presently. There are a lot of unemployed youths, there are a lot of Nigerians who had capacity to work and produce and increase the productivity of our society, but are sitting home jobless. You can look at how the government has managed the issue of ASU. There are so many ASU students, university students that are supposed to have graduated, but are still at home, still waiting, doing nothing. So how a government has managed all these issues, from education to health to industries, is really worrisome, and I really hope that they will have a change.
Moving forward now, still talking about processes where we can move out of this recession. And you talked about diversifying the economy, going into agriculture. How well would you see the federal government putting agriculture in place? Because most people have complained that our agriculture is not necessarily mechanized, so it's not necessarily bringing enough product for the country.
So first and foremost, for you to have increase economic activity looking at agriculture, which is our best bet for now, aside technology and other things, we must also look at security. Agriculture cannot be done in the sky. You cannot carry out agricultural activities in the comfort of your homes. You need to go to farms. Now, how secured are these farms for people to actually actualize their agricultural activities? So many farms in Zamfara are actually overrun by bandits. There are so many security challenges here and there. And I was hoping that before these security challenges put a halt to the investment that we are putting into agricultural advancement. Sadly, we haven't seen much done, by this government. You also know that that there have been reports of bandits holding farmers who had actually planted and waiting to harvest ransom. They're asking them to come and pay. So a lot of issues that we really need to look at. And I was, in fact, Kaduna-Abuja road cannot be plied. So even if you are transporting agricultural products, it cannot get to the south. So there have been increase in prices of goods and services. There have been increase in almost everything that contribute to economic productivity. So I really feel, even when we are thinking about mechanizing agriculture, how save our farms to ensure that there is actually productivity in those farms. It is when you have productivity that you can actually impact the economy. But when you cannot even access the farm for you to harvest and sell, it becomes a challenge. Nigeria is turning back into a consuming society. It's coming back into a society where the investment of the government on agriculture is coming to naught. Nothing has been achieved so far, and it's looking like we are wasting all our resources. We are wasting all our funds. If you don't plan your activity very well, if you don't strategize your activities very well, you put in funds into agriculture and nothing will come out of it. So I feel the government really at this point needs to look inwards and be creative about this. Look at issues that they've sat on for too long. Security is one. Issues of planning is one. Look at it now. Our budgetary allocation for year 2020 sat with crude oil at $57.